Happy Independence Day. It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Alaja, Nima, Akasha, Zibiri, how are you doing this morning?
Fine. Well,
how was your Independence weekend?
Yeah, it was busy and restful. So my mother-in-law returned from the village.
Oh, nice.
So she's back.
Lots of goodies?
Of course. From the farm, fresh farm. Nice. You know me, I like fresh farm. Yams, the gari well made, everything. Wow. House was full. So we're just there, but I slept all through. After unpacking, sleep.
What caused the sleep? May I ask on national?
I should be asking you ladies. Because the last public event I had, you guys were alcoholizing your champagne and I was taking my sugar.
They were alcohol.
No, you told me I don't have pasta.
Did you people pour something inside my cup?
It's Mariah that was champagne.
No, Mike, I was drinking juice.
Hey! YK had 4 bottles. I'm saying it on national TV. And she's
Mariam was also on top of it.
Yes, she's the one that instigated everybody. She's the influence. So she will finish me tomorrow.
Let me just say it on national TV. I watched tea. I watched juice. Don't you see my orange juice?
They won't believe it.
I do see it.
I juice. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a lovely weekend. So from the Friday hangout that we went there, I must confess, if people know Abumoye Zioku, all of us drank.
What was that?
Nima. Some people had 3 glasses, some had 2, some, we all drank. Well, it was a good weekend. Then Saturday, what happened Saturday? I was basically home, so I've been going back and forth the hospital because of my mother-in-law. She's still recuperating in the hospital, so I have to go take food, just care for them. The house was basically full. Then on Sunday, I went to House on the Rock. That's my church when I'm on the island.
Nice.
And Pastor T.D. Jakes.
Yep, scattered the ground.
Was and I appreciated how God makes us differently. Yeah. Everybody cannot go through this way, talk quietly, His craziness is what brings the word alive. It was a very impactful.
I watched Thursdays and it was powerful.
It was.
Unfortunately, I was so busy over the weekend.
I was there. Then the praise worship, forget, on another level. That church. Then you hear people sing, like, whoa, this is voice. No.
They should be signed up.
Good. God is good.
Fantastic. That's good. I mean, after hanging out, I had an event with Pastor Olumide Emmanuel. I went to speak for that event. Myself and Ayomaku were there. It was really nice to speak on sustaining, how we sustain the brand Your View, all this while. And then I was called by Jawiri to Abuja for a meeting. I had a few friends hanging out there. It was really, I had this Arabian tea. I don't know how I'm going to get this tea to Lagos. In fact, I need the distribution rights.
You didn't take some?
They had already made it.
The tea,
I need they said I have to get all the various herbs and brew it myself. Man, if you try this tea. Me, I don't like tea. Now, coffee I did.
I'm surprised that God. This Meshai that's carry this kettle on, they never make, teas in tea bag. They brew it. They are all on the Sahel. They come
with all the herbs.
Yeah, those are the things that they packaged into a proper.
Hey, the person even said it's from those Meshai. Yes. They bought it.
Yes.
Wow.
And brewed it. So I said, please can't find the Meshai.
Yes,
buy
let's
my own.
buy those.
I need to hire him and come.
But when you see them, you'll be afraid to taste what they're carrying.
Oh Lord, that thing was.
The first time somebody gave me.
They have good herbs.
No. That's a different.
I tried something like that in Dubai. They have herbs. I don't know where they bring, because Dubai is not supposed to have anything, but they bring all of that from different Arabian countries. The teas were.
But I had fun in Abuja. It was very refreshing. I enjoyed my stay there. I was at a hotel, lounge. Just enjoyed myself, hung out. It was a time off the stress of Lagos. So
you had the rest.
I had a good time. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Tinubu okays more relief package for workers and others. How 63rd independence anniversary was marked. 70-year-old nabbed over London-bound drug shipment. CSU ordered to release Tinubu's non-privileged documents to Atiku. Steer clear of revoked property, FCTA warns landowners. Boa slashes cement ex-factory price to 3,500 per bag. No plea bargain yet with Emefiele, says AGF. Okay. Which story?
I have Wike is breezing Abuja. So he said that the owners of the over 165 plots of land that were revoked by the FCTA administration, as the Federal Capital Territory Administration, are warned to stay away from such properties. That any one of them found tampering with the revoked land will be severely dealt with. In the same story, he talked about the bike riders moving around Abuja that, presently they are being confiscated and destroyed, that very soon they will extend the punishment to them themselves. They will punish the riders, not just confiscate their bikes. And he also talked about looking at pushing the cattle rearers out of the city center in Abuja to the suburbs in Abuja, saying that he's not saying that the cattle must leave Abuja, but they cannot be seen in the city center. There's an image that the city itself must carry, and it's not one of cattle just freely moving around. He says that they will invite those cattle rearers to a meeting where they will all sit down and talk about it and, give them heads up on how they will go so that there will be nobody just, there's no witch hunting, also called.
Right.
So BUA, BUA Cement PLC has announced the reduction in the ex-factory price of its cement to 3,500 per bag. And they're saying that the reduction will take effect from today. The company said this action was in line with the previous commitment it made to reduce cement prices upon the completion of its new production lines at the end of the year to sort of spur developments in the building materials and the infrastructure sector. So according to the company, they said following a periodic review by Taufik Salako, who is the deputy group business editor, the management of the group has decided to bring the price down, and they're still going to further reduce it. So this cement will now be sold at an ex-factory price of 3,500 per bag so that Nigerians can enjoy the benefits of the price reduction before the completion of the plant. And also upon completion, they will still have another reduction further down. So they are going to be completing production volumes to 70 million metric tons per annum. And they are going to further reduce after the completion at the first quarter of 2024. And they are also saying that those people who have already booked the cement ahead of time would also have, booked and paid, will also have a further reduction so that this 3,500 will be added to what they are going to pay. So they're going to be paying less than they have paid for before as a way to support. This is good for people who are building. Yes, this is what good for competition as well. And I pray, the way this capitalist things works, I pray this BUA is not blocked somehow from achieving this. Yeah, now.
Let me talk about the 63rd independence anniversary. That was the first one actually for our current president. So our president was ushered into the forecourt, the venue of the event yesterday, where he was led by 14-man presidential pipers dressed in Scottish attire. And also, one of the key significance of the event yesterday was the change of guards, which was regarded as a symbolic handover of the state's control from the colonial British authorities to the indigenous rulers. Now, what was also very important and significant about yesterday's event was the First Lady's speech, where she spoke at the Thanksgiving service. She was speaking, she said that we just came back from August 78. It was really successful for us as a nation. The world awaits Nigeria. We came back with good news. And all we inherited are things that have happened many years ago. My husband is not a magician. He is going to work brick by brick. And I believe and hope that you will have faith in his administration. She expressed her gratitude to God for enabling her to celebrate the Independence Day and the National Christian Center as the First Lady. And she was saying that she brings warm greetings. She was really just excited and talking about the fact that we must continue to believe and trust our husband's administration to move this country forward. Okay, let's move on. You want to take another story?
Yes, another story quickly. So, a septuagenarian, that's NDLEA doing their work again. He's a grandpa, Adomai Ugungwa, was arrested at the weekend in Dindire village, Tofa local government of Kano State, with 143.2 kilograms of skunk. They also went ahead to arrest Obiora Chigozie Samuel, a drug kingpin who has been wanted, for shipping illicit drug consignment to the United Kingdom. So initially, they spotted him, I think, September 15. They've been looking for him when he shipped consignment of 1,500 kilograms of skunk concealed in flour that was being transported to the UK. So he felt that one had passed, but they had, gotten him, waiting for him to come again. So he waltzed into the airport again with 1,500 kilogram consignment. Okay, after he thought that one sailed through, he carried another tranche of 2,000 or kilogram concealed in cartons at the airport for shipment to the UK when he was caught red-handed. So they continued with the list of all the people they caught during this period and this weekend as well. Well done, NDA.
Okay, The Punch. FG okays allowance for senior staff. Labour may suspend strike. Independence Day, APC berates PDP as opposition falls Tinubu's speech. 1 dies, 7 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crash. No plea bargain agreement with Emefiele, says AGF. Chicago academic record. Tinubu lawyers kick as court orders release. FG issues first wholesale gas supply license under PIA. Devaluation. Government banks make 2.2 trillion. Manufacturers lose 495 billion naira. Okay, which story?
We have the first, FG issues first wholesale gas supply license under the Petroleum Industry Act. And so the Petroleum Industry Act provided under Section 142 for the issuance of license to any company required to guide the commercial activities along the gas value chain. And the federal government issued the first wholesale gas license for 500 million standard cubic feet of gas per day to an indigenous company called the Uhuru Trading Limited. And that company is supposed to help guide commercial activities. For those of us who have been criticizing that when will this CNG take off and how will it work, we are seeing, some of these things. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, presented the license to the Uhuru Trading Limited on behalf of the government on Saturday in Abuja. And we're going to see the effect of it very soon. The complete story is in The Punch if you want more details, but I'm hoping to see that this would not only create employment along that chain to people, it will also ease those of us who are looking for the alternative to petrol.
Yeah. So a major headline, the federal government yesterday said the provisional wage increase announced by President Bola Tinubu for all low-income workers for 6 months will cut across all treasury-paid workers, meaning that's according to Femi Gbajabiamila, there's nothing like low-income workers. It's going to just spread across all the workers. So that's 25,000 naira added to their salaries. So here, the president, Femi Gbajabiamila, that's chief of staff to the president, was the one who said this at the State House correspondent at the end of a 4-hour marathon emergency meeting with leaders of organized labor. And they are hoping that with this new increment, they will suspend the proposed strike that was supposed to start tomorrow. However, labor leaders are rejecting the 25,000 naira provisional wage increments for low-grade workers. According to them, they said they cannot allow it for just 6 months. It has to continue till they conclude on another minimum wage, and that's when they can now lift that. And also, it should be increased to 35,000 naira additional, not 25,000 naira. So we don't know now if the strike is going to commence tomorrow. We are waiting to hear for that.
From NLC.
Yes, from NLC.
Okay, so I have the...
Okay, let's go to a quick break. When we return, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us, still reviewing the papers. So the Chicago academic records, the lawyers APC lawyers at kick concerning the article's request for Tinubu's records. According to the papers, United States District Court in Northern District of Illinois has ruled in favor of Atiku Abubakar and ordered the Chicago State Police, State University to release the president's records. But Tinubu's lawyers have insisted that the documents may not be relevant in Atiku's appeal against the Supreme Court, especially because all evidences should have been provided at the filing of the petition. So the fact that even if you bring in the records, according to have the spokesperson, Osadolo, in an interview with Punch, said he was convinced that it has nothing to do. No, so let me take somebody else. That's not him. Was somebody else from the Tinubu's camp, Mr. Oluwole Afolabi? Yes. He was saying that he was reacting to the report, saying that even if the new evidences are provided, it will not affect the current proceedings that are going on to the Supreme Court at the moment.
Submitted earlier.
I have the no plea bargain agreement. So the AGF, through the spokesperson for the Ministry of Justice, Modupe Ogundaro, says that the news flying around that the federal government, his office on behalf of the federal government has reached a no prosecution plea bargain with the former governor of the CBN is false. He said that this might be based on the statement from his legal team when they said at the last trial in August that they would go into a plea bargain with the federal government, but that the federal government have not gone into a plea bargain with them for any reason, and that story is false.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. Strike, FG makes concessions, Labour to consult organs. Nigeria bleeding pirates right at Tinubu. IPOB disowns Biafra Liberation Army, says group led by EPA. Black Independence Day, many burned to death as tanker explodes on failed Benin-Sapele Road. Peter Obi urges Nigerians to be hopeful for better tomorrow. Soludo renames Anambra Cargo Airport after Chino Achebe. And FG has no 50 billion naira plea bargain deal with Emefiele, says Justice Minister. Okay, which story are we taking in Daily Sun?
So the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB are disassociating themselves from a new pro-Biafra group known as Biafra Liberation Army, BLA. And the spokesperson of IPOB, Ima Powerful, made a statement that he released to the newsmen yesterday and said that the group is led by Simon Ekpa, that's this new group. And, you know, he reacted to a viral video by a member of the group who had worn the camouflage and IPOB insignia, saying that his members have not degenerated to violence in their quest for a Biafra nation, that the global family and movement of IPOB, led by Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, wishes to state unequivocally that Biafra struggle championed by IPOB has nothing to do with the so-called Biafra Liberation Army and governments in exile. And they said that they have millions of people who are fighting for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra is not a IPOB is not a government. It doesn't have an army, nor does it have anybody in government anywhere in the world. So they are just a peaceful group that are just agitating for Biafra. So anybody who's coming up to say that they have a government, they have an army, is not Biafra. It's being led by somebody else, Simon Ekpa.
Okay.
Okay. Sad Independence Day, how was it carried?
Black.
Black Independence Day. So an accident that was confirmed by the sector commander for the Federal Road Safety Corps in Delta State, Mr. Udeme Basi Eshet, took place in the wee hours, early morning on Sunday yesterday, and it was a tanker that fell on its side, caught fire, and burnt every car and human beings along his road. So about 15 vehicles were destroyed, confirmed by the sector commander, of course, and 7 people sustained injuries, 8 burnt beyond recognition.
Wow. And
this accident happened between the Ologbo, between Ologbo and Koko. That's Ologbo in Edo State and Koko in Delta State on the Benin-Sapele Road. This road, of course, is being over and over in the news about the state of the road and how bad road users, survivors were heard in the story, their accounts of it, saying that this has continued to cost people's life, that it did not exceed 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes of the falling of the tanker, all the cars on the road, everything just burnt like that. People were just decrying the state of the road in this report. I'm hoping that the federal government is on top of this, and former Governor Umahi is listening in on this news. This road should be prioritized, because it cannot continue to cost people's lives. I heard of the story before reading it this morning from a relative who was able to just escape and see the inferno behind him yesterday morning.
Sometimes about the camera, I know the minister at some point was criticizing some contractors that were giving money that don't do the job. So I know he's policing it, but they need to do much more, because there are people who are giving the money to do it but refuse to do their job. So it's important for us to highlight that.
No, there's also the issue of funding.
Yes.
When the House of Reps will continue to remove certain projects, let's prioritize this.
So it's multifaceted.
Former minister tried his best on a lot of those roads, visiting them, but funding is still an issue.
You're absolutely correct. Governor Soludo, my second favorite governor, of Anambra State, has renamed the state international passenger and cargo airport after late Chino Achebe. Achebe is a Nigerian novelist, poet, critic, gave African literature and identity, and the voice he rightly He reconstructed and redefined the identity of people. He said, the governor said Achebe is not just an Igbo hero, an Anambra hero, or a Nigerian hero, but he's an African, a Pan-African hero that must be celebrated. He said that, unfortunately, there are many unsung heroes, African heroes, like Chinua Achebe. He said that some people are wrongly think of legacies in terms of brick and mortar, but legacy is about impact on human life. Achebe was not a president, a governor, or a military man. He did not build bridges or roads or airports, but he would outlive most presidents, governors, and ministers, especially for what he has done. Achebe rejected Nigeria's national honors twice in protest against what he perceived as injustice to his home state, Anambra. So he's really, he was really, really proud to name this international airport after Chinua Achebe. And I think more of this needs to be done, especially from the southeastern part. When I entered Airpeace yesterday, I always feel this sense of pride anytime I enter Airpeace. Like, this
is
and not just enter
Nigeria.
in a correct plane. Like, so those are kind of things we need to project.
Imagine the number of planes he bought
They
recently.
delayed us like 3-5 hours, but even with that delay.
Even other airplanes, they delay
Yeah, but
too.
this one, the delay.
Even in the Obodo, they delay us.
Hey, but this one, you just felt I didn't really care. I was like,
You were being patriotic.
I was like, nah,
We can delay ourselves, it's okay, yes. We'll grow.
Nah, first we'll be all right.
Don't stress us.
All right, moving on now to Vanguard. FG's meeting with NLC TUC ends in deadlock. I think this is kind of late. The impeachment at Kayode Opeifa shops for a new deputy governor. Boa reduces cement price to 3,500 per bag. Live well, be happy, death calls us daily. U.S. court orders CSO, that's Chicago State University, to release Tinubu's academic records to Atiku. Nigeria 63 governors can others preach peace, say country's challenges surmountable. Wike moves against Okada operations, open grazing in Abuja. Okay, which story?
I have the impeachment story. So I like the way this was taken. They said that the Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, has started shopping for a new deputy governor following the impeachment saga concerning his deputy, Aiyedatiwa. And the report has 4 personalities from the same region where Aiyedatiwa, the Ondo State oil producing areas. He said they have the former Ondo State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Osopadek Chairman Benga Edema, another party chieftain, Nimbe Tawoshe, the Deputy Speaker in the State House of Assembly, Abayomi Akinruton, and the Special Advisor to the Governor on Education, Dr. Wunmi Ilawole, as candidates that he's also looking at. Then the report goes and says that the governor did not want an impeachment of his deputy. He has prevailed on the Speaker of the State House of Assembly to drop or halt the impeachment process, but they have insisted on going on. And when he too read the allegations against his deputy, he had to drop hands and start to fish for a replacement.
So Nigeria marked 63 years independence yesterday, and state governors, religious organizations, some prominent citizens have all expressed optimism that the challenges facing the country are surmountable. So they had their separate Independence Day speeches, and they expressed hope that with the right government policies and cooperation of every citizen, the problems facing the country will be a thing of the past in no distant time. So I want to highlight a few things some of them said. So the governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, in his speech, called on the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission, RAMFAC, to review the current revenue allocation formula in favor of the states. A condition, he said, would determine what salary the states can afford to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal. Yobe State Governor Mai Buni, also in his speech, said Nigerians need to play a role in building a united, strong, and prosperous nation. Akeredolu, that's Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, also yesterday called on all Nigerians to unite with the country's leadership in the task of rebuilding the nation towards peace, progress, and development. We had a few people who did not agree with the government, opposition parties and the like. So the Christian Association of Nigeria, in their message, said the government should not overlook the profound challenges confronting the nation. I think PDP also made a statement. So they dismissed the speech, saying it was bereft of ideas and all of that. So we have for and against, people who are rooting for the government, people who are also condemning what they've seen so far. Yeah.
So, I was going to say Governor Wike, but the FCT has, the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, while on the tour with journalists on the various areas within FCT, was talking about the possibility of the crushing motorcycles impounded in restricted areas. was saying that they're also going to have to, at some point, enforce the ban on the open cattle grazing. But specifically told the journalists that, listen, don't go and relay the news in a way to cause problems. That we are still consulting. According to him, we did not take firm decisions because we have not been able to provide buses as alternative. He said that the government also would talk to the bike owners to see how to provide alternatives for them. Also, he said for the open grazing, we are not saying they'll stop open grazing in Abuja, but just they're not saying they'll stop grazing in Abuja, but they're saying that they'll have to discuss, have a meeting with the cattle people. According to him, we'll sit down with the cattle people. We cannot allow things to go on the way it is, and we will now come to a decision. That we're not saying no cattle in Abuja, but within the city, there has to be other ways of doing this. So they are working on it. So it's not a total going against them, but it's like they have to start that conversation. I found it interesting because I was in Abuja also this weekend, and I was seeing some places where they started telling them to move away. You know where we buy kilishi now? So that's Oga Wike.
They want to move them.
I saw that one.
Oga Wike has gone to...
Go and finish it.
He said that they have to focus on the master plan of the FCT, that everything outside that master plan.
They just leveled down that market.
So,
so they have plans to move them somewhere else?
Yes, you have to give them alternatives. They have to be proper structure so that we people like come from Lagos. You know where to buy kilishi. No, it was a very, very difficult situation. Anyway, let's see how many more minutes we have. We don't have any more minutes. Let's just take the headline in the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Delta tanker explosion. FRSC confirms 8 deaths, 8 buses, 5 trailers, 2 tanker burnt. Customs arrest shipping agents who plan to export elephant ivories, really. Pangolin scales and others. Lagos government seals 8 eateries, malls for environmental infractions. Excuse me. AGF denies signing 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele. Any story jumping at you?
Yeah, the 8 eateries that were, sealed across Lekki Phase 1, yes. So this were sealed by the Lagos State government for various environmental infractions. And some of the outlets, they said, contravened the state's sanitation laws. And they sealed them off. They mentioned their names: Lennox Mall, The Place, Brazos Place, Admiralty Mall, Underdeveloped.
These are popular places, though.
Yeah, C-Smart Supermarket, Frisia Foods Restaurant, Nectar Beauty Hub, Sailor Lounge, and a lot of them. And they said they need to, prevent that these people are actually causing the some of the flooding that happens in that area. So some of them were built on, the pipelines are supposed, drainages, the drainage lines, and so they are trying as much as possible to see how they can, clear the blockages. And some of them too are also not, keeping to sanitation. They are blocking the drainages with their wastage and all of that. So let's see how that works.
Okay, that is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, more to the hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Governments in exile, and they said that they have millions of people who are fighting for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra is not a... IPOB is not a government. It doesn't have an army, nor does it have anybody in government anywhere in the world. So they are just a peaceful group that are just agitating for Biafra. So anybody who's coming up to say that they have a government, they have an army, is not Biafra. It's being led by somebody else, Simon Eba.
Okay.
Sad Independence Day, how was it carried?
Black
Independence Day. So an accident that was confirmed by the sector commander for the Federal Road Safety Corps in Delta State, Mr. Udeme Basi Eshet, took place in the wee hours, early morning on Sunday yesterday, and it was a tanker that fell on its side, caught fire, and burnt every car and human beings along his. So about 15 vehicles were destroyed, confirmed by the sector commander, of course, and 7 people sustained injuries, 8 burnt beyond recognition.
Wow. And
this accident happened between the Ologbo, between Ologbo and Koko. That's Ologbo in Edo State and Koko in Delta State on the Benin-Sapele Road. This road, of course, is being over and over in the news about the state of the road and how bad. Road users, survivors were heard in the story, their accounts of it, saying that this has continued to cost people's life, that it did not exceed 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes of the falling of the tanker, all the cars on the road, everything just burnt like that. People were just decrying the state of the road in this report. I'm hoping that the federal government is on top of this, and former Governor Umahi is listening in on this news. This road should be prioritized because you cannot continue to cost people's lives. I heard of the story before reading it this morning from a relative who was able to just escape and see the inferno behind him yesterday morning.
Sometimes about the camera, I know the minister at some point was criticizing some contractors that were giving money that don't do the job. So I know he's policing it, but they need to do much more because there are people who are given the money to do it but refuse to do their job. So it's important for us to highlight that.
No, you know, there's also the issue of funding.
Yes.
When the House of Reps and will continue to remove certain projects, let's prioritize this.
So it's multifaceted.
Former minister tried his best on a lot of those routes, visiting them, but funding is still an issue.
You're absolutely correct. Governor Soludo, my second favorite governor, of Anambra State has renamed the state's international passenger and cargo airport after late Chinua Achebe. Achebe is a Nigerian novelist, poet, critic, gave African literature and identity, and the voice he rightly reconstructed and redefined the identity of people. The governor said Achebe is not just an Igbo hero, an Anambra hero, or a Nigerian hero, but he's an African, a Pan-African hero that must be celebrated. He said that, unfortunately, there are many unsung heroes, African heroes like Chinua Achebe. He said that some people are wrongly think of legacies in terms of brick and mortar, but legacy is about impact on human life. Achebe was not a president, a governor, or a military man. He did not build bridges or roads or airports, but he would outlive most presidents, governors, and ministers, especially for what he has done. Achebe rejected Nigeria's national honors twice in protest against what he perceived as injustice to his home state, Anambra. So he's really, he was really, really proud to name this international airport after Chinua Achebe. And I think more of this needs to be done, especially from the southeastern part. When I entered Airpeace yesterday, I always feel this sense of pride anytime I enter Airpeace. Like, this is I'm not
Nigeria.
just enter one with a correct plane. Like, so those are kind of things we need to project.
Imagine the number of planes he bought
They
recently.
delayed us like 3-5 hours, but even with that delay.
Even other airplanes, they delay
but
too.
this one, the delay.
Even in the Obodo, they delay us.
Hey, but this one, you just felt I didn't really care. I was like,
You were being patriotic.
I was like,
We can delay ourselves, it's okay, yes. We'll grow.
Nah, first we'll be all right.
Don't stress us.
All right, moving on now to Vanguard. FG's meeting with NLC TUC ends in deadlock. I think this is kind of late. The impeachment at Akredolu's shops for a new deputy governor. Boa reduces cement price to 3,500 per bag. Live well, be happy, death calls us daily. U.S. court orders CSO, that's Chicago State University, to release Tinubu's academic records to Atiku. Nigeria 63 governors can others preach peace, say country's challenges surmountable. Wike moves against Okada operations, open grazing in Abuja. Okay, which story?
I have the impeachment story. So I like the way this was taken. They said that the Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, has started shopping for a new deputy governor following the impeachment saga concerning his deputy, Aiyedatiwa. And the report has 4 personalities from the same region where Aiyedatiwa, the Ondo State oil-producing areas, he said they have the former Ondo State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Osopadek Chairman Benga Edema, another party chieftain, Nimbe Tawoshe, the Deputy Speaker in the State House of Assembly, Abayomi Akinruton, and the Special Advisor to the Governor on Education, Dr. Wunmi Ilawole, as candidates that he's also looking at. Then the report goes and says that the governor did not want an impeachment of his deputy. He has prevailed on the Speaker of the State House of Assembly to drop or halt the impeachment process, but they have insisted on going on. And when he too read the allegations against his deputy, he had to drop hands and start to fish for a replacement.
So Nigeria marked 63 years independence yesterday, and state governors, religious organizations, some prominent citizens have all expressed optimism that the challenges facing the country are surmountable. So they had their separate Independence Day speeches, and they expressed hope that with the right government policies and cooperation of every citizen, the problems facing the country will be a thing of the past in no distant time. So I want to highlight a few things some of them said. So the governor of of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, in his speech, called on the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission, RAMFAC, to review the current revenue allocation formula in favor of the states. A condition, he said, would determine what salary the states can afford to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal. Yobe State Governor Mai Buni also in his speech said Nigerians need to play a role in building a united, strong, and prosperous nation. Akeredolu, that's Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, also yesterday called on all Nigerians to unite with the country's leadership in the task of rebuilding the nation towards peace, progress, and development. We had a few people who did not agree with the government, opposition parties and the like. So the Christian Association of Nigeria, in their message, said the government should not overlook the profound challenges confronting the nation. I think PDP also made a statement. So they dismissed the speech, saying it was bereft of ideas and all of that. So we have for and against, people who are rooting for the government, people who are also condemning what they've seen so far. Yeah.
So, I was going to say Governor Wike, but the FCT has, the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, while on the tour with journalists on the various areas within FCT, was talking about the possibility of crushing motorcycles impounded in restricted areas. Was saying that they're also going to have to, at some point, enforce the ban on the open cattle grazing. But specifically told the journalists that, listen, don't go and relay the news in a way to cause problems. That we are still consulting. According to him, we did not take firm decisions because we have not been able to provide buses as alternative. He said that the government also would talk to the bike owners to see how to provide alternatives for them. Also, say for the open grazing, we are not saying they'll stop open grazing in Abuja, but just they're not saying they'll stop grazing in Abuja, but they're saying that they'll have to discuss, have a meeting with the cattle people. According to him, we'll sit down with the cattle people. We cannot allow things to go on the way it is, and we will now come to a decision that we're not saying no cattle in Abuja, but within the city, there has to be other ways of doing this. So they are working on it. So it's not a total going against them, but it's like they have to start that conversation. I found it interesting because I was in Abuja also this weekend, and I was seeing some places where they started telling them to move away. You know where we buy kilishi now? So that's Oga Wike.
They want to move them.
I saw that one.
Oga Wike has gone to...
Go and finish it.
He said that they have to focus on the master plan of the FCT, that everything outside that master plan.
They just leveled down that market.
So,
so they have plans to move them somewhere else?
Yes, you have to give them alternatives. They have to be proper structure so that we feel like going from Lagos. You know where to buy kilishi. No, it was a very, very difficult situation. Anyway, let's see how many more minutes we have. We don't have any more minutes. Let's just take the headline in the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Delta tanker explosion. FRSC confirms 8 deaths, 8 buses, 5 trailers, 2 tanker burnt. Customs arrest shipping agents who plan to export elephant ivories, really. Pangolin scales and others. Lagos government seals 8 eateries, malls for environmental infractions. Excuse me. AGF denies signing 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele. Any story jumping at you?
Yeah, the 8 eateries that were, sealed across Lekki Phase 1, yes. So this were sealed by the Lagos State government for various environmental infractions. And some of the outlets, they said, contravened the state's sanitation laws. And they sealed them off. They mentioned their names: Lennox Mall, The Place, Brazos Place, Admiralty Mall, on the development.
These are popular places, though.
Yeah, C-Smart Supermarket, Frisia Foods Restaurant, Nectar Beauty Hub, Sailor Lounge, and a lot of them. And they said they need to, prevent that these people are actually causing the some of the flooding that happens in that area. So some of them were built on, the pipelines are supposed, drainages, the drainage lines, and so they are trying as much as possible to see how they can, clear the blockages. And some of them too are also not, keeping to sanitation. They are blocking the drainages with their wastage and all of that. So let's see how that works.
Okay, that is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, more to the hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the president's speech yesterday on October 1st, on the 63rd anniversary of our nation, is the hot topic for today because all Nigerians are talking about it. How did the speech make you feel? What are your thoughts about the points he made, this conversation with NLC, the updates we have this morning? He's talked about hope, about unity, about the fact that our unity is non-negotiable, reminding us that we have our forefathers, our founding fathers and founding mothers have sacrificed ultimately to bring us where we are today, and that we must not sacrifice our unity. And he also said that we should celebrate our diversity. What are your general thoughts on the president's speech? We'd like to hear Nigerians' views. Please call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-7641-679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. And also messages on YouTube. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts on it. Ladies, let me come to you. I mean, everybody was kind of talking about the speech. We all woke up very early, 7 a.m. My phone was ready, to see, to hear the president. And what are your thoughts first? He looked rather tired. His countenance it seemed like it was quite stressful. Because usually we've seen him better than that, but he was a bit like...
I believe he's been traveling a lot. He just came back from the UN General Assembly. He needs to take a break, rest, and, to recover. But he had to do the Independence Day event itself, so he had to show up. And for me, out of everything he said, it was fuel subsidy that was our focus. Because my neighbors will not let me breathe. They'll come and say, this is what we voted for. This is how we planned it, and a lot of things. And I kept explaining that these are things that preceded his administration.
Yes.
The decisions, the inactions, the actions and inactions of the preceding government in years, even before 1999, that brought us here. Our refusal to fix our refineries, build new refineries, our refusal to stem imports and control, ensure exports is why we're here. There's no dollars to meet it up. But he mentioned fuel subsidy and said it wasn't a hasty decision, according to those who are criticizing him, saying that he just declared it without any plan. No, he said no. He said, I am a different person. I am not a man to erect our national home on a foundation of mud. And I believe strongly that, that's the way to go. We all agreed that, we could not continue paying subsidy. Yeah. The only problem for now is that we've stayed the cost of petrol at 600 and we're hoping for better. But he went on to emphasize that CNG will take place soon. So he said the CNG conversion kit will soon begin distribution across the country. Yes, and to ensure that people convert. He said that I also bring in CNG buses to ensure that they mitigate, the cost of transportation. And those are the major issues that we're looking at.
All right, let me come to
that alternative thing.
What are your own general thoughts on?
Yes, so the speech was full for me. So it was holistic. It covered all the aspects that Nigerians have been waiting to hear what the president had to say. And this is also an opportunity to say that no matter how good a policy is, it needs time for us to see the effects, the positive effects of that policy. And if we keep trying to fight the policy, we will not even wait to see where it will lead us to at the end of the day. But there was something he took. While we were waiting for fuel subsidy, I was waiting for the palliatives, because I wanted to hear how he would handle or how he would speak about what he's going to do concerning the pains Nigerians are going through. Things are very costly at the moment. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. For me to be driving past and I'll see plantain and remove my face, is that serious? But he talked about the palliatives. He talked about the 25,000, which he has agreed is now 35,000 that they are going to be increasing for workers all across board. So it's not just low-income workers now, but everyone who is working would have a form of increment. And also the cash they wanted to start sending to the family, though we don't know when this is going to start, but he also mentioned it is still in the pipeline, just to find ways to see how, all these people can, cushion the effects of what is happening right now. And I felt like, okay, he understands what we are going through, but we need to see the action. Yeah. We need to see it. So you understand, you know what you're going to do. Please, can you give us a time frame? When are we starting? When are we releasing this and all of that? That would give Nigerians a form of hope. Then insecurity as well. Maybe you can go on.
So let me quickly add to what you said on palliative. So he mentioned that they will extend the social safety net to additional 15 million homes. Okay. And that apart from that, they're also looking at investment funding for enterprises to boost employment and boost urban incomes. People are looking at the 35,000 that they reach with labor as affecting only civil servants. So some people are saying, what about me? I remember my neighbor yesterday when I was just in Yala Olush was saying, Ejani Muntao, how do I benefit? So I explained to her that, they're looking at boosting employment. Very soon, we'll see more people in the employment net that looking at funding of companies. If we continue to, to be hopeful, we will be able to benefit from the urban incomes and all of those interventions that are bringing in. And then the 15 million vulnerable homes. I hope that the data with Better Edu's ministry is accurate.
Correct, yeah.
I saw her video yesterday at Makoko. I'm hoping that beyond Makoko, there are people who are in the other areas that you think are eyebrow. When you go in within, you see the state of living. I hope that they extend to that.
Yesterday I came back and I had to take a taxi. And the taxi driver, they seem to be in a sort of independence celebration. So I was just having a conversation with him. I said, how is the country treating you? He said, madam, no easy. You know that things are really, really tough. I said, and I asked him, what do you think of the president's speech? That was my question. He said, he said we should be patient, no need. He said we have to be patient because I don't even know. I said, but how are you with money? He said it's not easy. That even buying food from the family is extremely difficult.
Yes,
so he said that, and I said, but they said they're giving palliatives. He said, that palliative matter. But he's a party member, and he was supposed to distribute 160 bags to his community, which he took to Ekpe. And he gave some 25, 45, he spread it out. And when he now finally delivered, he realized that it was 5 kg of rice. Now, what can 5 kg of rice do for his family? Even he himself, in 1-2 days, they are done with his kids. So he understands that they are trying to provide palliatives, but it's really not enough. So that's why I'm linking it to the 25,000 naira. The fact that giving somebody the money, 35,000 naira actually, will probably go further than just giving them palliatives of rice or beans.
For everyone
some
employed
governments
person,
have started doing.
There's at least 15 family members, neighbors that you'd reach.
True.
So if we look at it as only one person getting it, what about being able to meet the needs of your dependents? Also, they did not do that 35,000 for workers alone. There are other programs that would eventually balance things out. One thing I am looking out for, seriously, because I saw some states in the north, I'm trying to remember the state, already having the electric buses. They contracted Innocent to provide electric buses, and the buses were already operating. So if other states continue to emulate it, because we are looking at the federal government, nobody is shouting what the state governments
are doing.
I was explaining to my neighbor again that, the state government in Lagos State have already put subsidy, that now if you're in the BRT buses, you don't pay the full price. And she was like, where do it's Okada that will carry me to Korum now, And they are still looking at it but eventually it will trickle down. Yes. Eventually, it's not an immediate thing, but it will trickle down. I'm just hoping that, people would like to see. So that person gave some people 5 kg, but some people did not receive that 5 kg.
Yeah.
So what is important is that we have our data correct. Okay. So that when somebody receives, you know that at least the government has reached you. The possibility of government reaching most people is what is vague.
Yeah. Let me take this call from Ekene Chuku from Abuja. Thanks for calling, Ekene. Thanks for your live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, all.
Morning.
Yeah, I just want to talk about one or two things from what I got from the president's speech. You see, he said a whole lot of things, but what I want to point out here is that one, the inflationary trend will continue to increase if we don't have a system of production. Two, the president, we understand he extended the hand of fellowship to state governors as regards palliatives. You see, in the past, we saw what happened with those palliatives that was extended to state governors. Most of them stored it. They didn't use it for the purpose for which it is being given. So now, we want the president to put a stake concerning this palliative because this...
What's a what?
What's a stake?
So we didn't get that last part. I didn't get it. Let me come to you. And,
yes, so while Nima was talking, my housekeeper just sent me a list of what I need to buy. And this somebody who said, when I was leaving this morning, Mommy, just help us get bread. I said, okay, is that all? Okay, add tomatoes, is that all? Add onions. I said, okay, write what we need. I have over 20-something things. I don't want to list it, It's really scary. And I feel, especially for those people who are not even making up to minimum wage, sometimes you are looking at your level and you are thinking this suffering is too much. But what about those people who are not even making up to? But I wanted to talk about security and the president said they are protecting lives of the people and their property remains the highest priority of his administration. And he's, trying to get inter-service collaboration and intelligence sharing to be enhanced, They have tasked the service chiefs with vital responsibility of rebuilding the capacities of our security service. Though we don't need the details of the security, but can we know exactly what is being done? Do we have data on how many security personnel that will be employed? We've been talking about the fact that we don't have enough police personnel. Can we know if there's recruitment? Is there any form of recruitment happening? For example, we cannot be over 200 million people and we just have 100,000 of police personnel. We don't have enough to protect us. And I know there was a time they announced that all the police following the VIP should be, recalled. Is that working? Do we have data to show that they have actually been recalled and they are no longer? Have we followed up? So we need some form of details on what the steps are. And I know that it may not be his job to break it down on a day like this because he has a lineup of things to do. But afterwards, can we have a place where we go to and get these details so that Nigerians can see that they are working? We're seeing the progress. We're seeing the action. We're seeing the to-do, the how. Everything is listed there. Can we have that so that we find that we're able to hold governments more accountable to say, you promise you're going to be employing so and so into the police system. After a few months, you have not done anything. What's happening? It will be better for us.
Let me take this call from Olaoluwa. He's calling from Surulere. Thanks for calling, Olaoluwa.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I can appreciate people analyzing the problem of Nigeria this way or that way. I want to go visual. There is a problem with Nigeria that we have not looked into. We have not involved God. We have been fighting and making reference to founding fathers. We are not making reference to God.
To God.
We are not making references to God. Even where God has appeared in our national anthem is in the second stanza. And it's not even a prayer. It's not a prayer. It's just like we are commanding the whole God of creation. And people hardly even sing that second stanza. Look at America, for God's sake. That confession is there. In God we trust. Even though people think America is worse for crime and this and that. But look at it, God is endowing them with simply because of that confession. And the prayer on the lips of every American is, God bless America. God can, because of that, you confessing Him, decide to, just spoil you with all necessary wherewithal. So we are not, our leaders are not hearing God in the mouth of our leaders.
All right, thank you very much, Olaolu. I know the second stanza of our national anthem is actually a prayer.
It's true,
but yeah,
we silence it a lot.
Yeah, but now recently we've been actually projecting it a lot at events. But let me touch on the part of unity because I think that what struck me the most from the president's speech, because I think more than ever we need a reminder of how important it is for us to stay together. And when you're continually hearing from our president reminding Nigerians, I think it's rather crucial. So there was something he said that struck me. He said we are a broad and dynamic blend of ethnic groups, religions, traditions, and cultures. Yet our bonds are intangible, yet strong, invisible, yet universal. We are joined by common thirst for peace and progress, by the common dream of prosperity and harmony, and by the unifying ideals of tolerance and justice. The president also said that Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable. He said, forging a diverse and populous nation such as Nigeria has been a task of significance, blessing, but also serial challenges. Some people have said that Nigeria will break apart, but they've been mistaken. So I think that it's important when we have a president reminding us of our diversity and the fact that we're in times where everybody wants to be seen and heard. You know, back then it was just 2, 3, okay, in the Igbo, the Yoruba, and Hausa. But now every single tribe wants to be heard. Every single tribe wants to be represented. The education, there's exposure, there's enlightenment. We all want to be part of this whole. And I think it's important for us to see the value in that. So when our president reiterates this in his speeches, I've observed that in almost all his speeches, he constantly reminds us, and I think we need to highlight it more, on how we must see ourselves as one Nigeria, and we must see ourselves as part of a whole. He keeps saying, and he keeps repeating the fact that we are from different rooms in the same building, in the same house. We are all in different rooms, but we're all in the same house. So, which I think is something that we need to continually remind Nigerians of, and I thought that was really important to highlight.
President also talked about, because one of the things that have made prices go up is the cost of diesel. In the cost of production, everybody has to deal with diesel because we've not gotten power right. And, he mentioned that, there will be a tax waiver for 6 months of VAT for diesel going forward. Some people have criticized this as, just 6 months. Even the 35,000, they have criticized that it's just a 6 month.
Yeah.
We're looking at, adjusting to a new reality.
Yeah.
And somebody is giving us a buffer. And we're criticizing that buffer. We're saying, when we did not have anything, we criticized. Now that we are looking, it is not like there's money somewhere that you have to bring. Do we want the loans to continue to grow? Yeah. We're dealing with unpaid loans. We're dealing with, loan servicing, interest servicing, debt servicing, and all of those big names that I cannot, for the economists, I don't know how to pronounce these things. But, he's looked at, a period of time that will help us adjust into our new reality. If, for instance, at this time, production, cost of diesel, what he can take off has been taken off. We said it here in the last administration that, remove the taxes from diesel. Yeah. Let the production be easy, which he has done now. So, and he has done it for a period of time to help the companies adjust. And very soon, production will take off. Not that they will shut down. We're seeing businesses close up, shut down because of cost of, running businesses.
And let me take this Fee Baba call. Mr. Fee Baba from Suleja. Thanks for calling. Fee Baba.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to commend you ladies for doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, first, I really want Nigerians out there that please, this situation we are at the moment, we are not supposed to be putting blames. Because the problem we are facing in this country at the moment, whoever God brought into power, we always complain. We always complain. The situation we are at the moment now, what we need is prayer. Let us sit down. Let us pray for these leaders so that God will guide them and lead them in the right way. Because when we continue complaining, they are doing this, they are doing that, God will continue increasing the problem we are having in this country.
Okay.
He says God that will increase the problem.
All right, so boy, see, what I was going to add to what Nima said is the fact that 6 months, I would think Nigerians should say, okay, let's give this president this 6 months. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, we have the CNG conversion points at the filling stations. We need to review that. How many buses have been converted? How many of the transportation buses? How many more of the manufacturers have received $1 billion? Remember, he said he had promised in this previous speech that 75 will get 1 billion naira to manufacture, because we need to increase our exporting and the manufacturing production sector. So these are the things we need to look forward to in the next 6 months, because as he's giving this cushion effect, those other ripple effects on these SMEs, the small, medium scale companies, they need that buffer that he has promised in his previous speech.
So I understand why Nigerians will question 6 months, because we know in this country, when things go up, they don't come down. And everybody's trying to say, okay, how do I survive? We don't have like a clear idea of when the sufferings will stop. We don't have that clear idea. We're all guessing and stipulating, okay, maybe a few months, a few years. We don't know how long it's going to take. And so when people say, 6 months is too small, people are already foreseeing maybe things will really not come down. So why do I want to just take this for 6 months and survive in this way, and then it stops after 6 months and I'm back to square one? So everybody's just trying to see how they can survive on their own. That's why I'm saying that the government needs to spell out everything it wants to do and give us a bit of a time frame. I know they are not gods. They will not see the ripple effect at the end of the day. But that hope means that we have the number of, like, when you're setting a goal, you have when you want to achieve that goal. So you can set this goal and say, in 6 months' time, I want to be here. So if you give us in 6 months' time, we will be here. These and these and these are some of the things. And that's why we need experts to do the calculations for us. These are some of the things you now see that will mean that we have achieved this goal. When you give that to Nigerians, I say, okay, for us to get to that 6 months, I'm going to give you this to cushion the effect for that time frame. It will be accepted more than just saying, we'll just do this for 6 months and leave you guys hanging. And everybody's wondering, what if after 6 months, we don't get the desired results?
Well, you know, it's quite interesting that we always feel that the president is like this for that Christmas, we're waiting for
That's what we're
give us a
expecting.
gift.
That's what this
Let's also be waiting for, forgetting that even we as a people.
I believe that statement was confusing.
Our national
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the president's speech. And before the break, we're talking about how people felt that the speech, when the president speaks, it's supposed to be this Santa Claus or Father Christmas coming to just want to give us something. And forgetting the role that we play, I was responding to you saying, I remember when we had a guest last week, Mr. Bakari, who was saying the real value of Naira is supposed to be between 650 to 700. But the truth is that we Nigerians, I always go, the middle class who has small Naira in their accounts, have mopped up the dollars because they want to change all the Naira to dollars. We are part of the, so because of that, it got a spike. And now we're saying, oh, dollar is the 1,000 Naira. Why? Because the real value that we've seen based on the real indices shouldn't have gone past 700. But many people started converting all their Naira because they don't want to lose the value. So we also are part of the problem, whether we like to believe it or not. So the truth is that as Nigerians, what else, how should we see the president's speech, and how do we see our own role in being part of this solution?
No, that's not a fair assessment to say Nigerians quickly mopped up the little Naira that they have. We have people who are in places of leadership who would not use what we have here, who would prefer to convert, get the forex and do medical tourism outside. They will do education outside. They do everything outside. We're not looking at those.
Of it now.
But that's not what you mentioned. You mentioned just the middle class, people who have a few Naira in their account,
part of the problem.
mopping up. But I don't even think that is the problem. So they're not able to mop. If there were policies, right policies preventing that, people would always take advantage of the loopholes the government presents.
Doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it right. But then government has a responsibility to block those loopholes. That's why you're government. That's why in a place of leadership, everybody cannot be a leader. So if you're a leader, when you do things right, people will not have an avenue to do things wrong. You do your job, everybody does their job. But what I'm saying in essence is we need to open a conversation to say the gift you think we are expecting government to give us is not a gift, it's ours. It belongs to us. It belongs to the nation. The revenue that we get, the tax, everything belongs to the nation. So if you see that your people are suffering and you decide, I want to do this and that to sort of help them, it's not a gift you are giving to anybody. You're not giving us a gift. Okay, it belongs to the nation.
I beg to disagree, because if we look at it as gifts, this entitled mindset of Nigerians is why we're here. Nigerians don't want to live within means. Nigerians want to mop it up, convert your Naira to dollar and save it. So you have more money when you need to change it to do the, what exactly are our needs? What exactly are our needs? If government is providing, cheaper transport by electric buses and CNG buses, those are our needs. Move around, do your daily businesses. But the excess that will make you bigger, that's what you're looking at. The palliatives government is giving out to 15 million households. How much are our needs, basic needs? Nigerians are no longer waiting for those things and saying, if you say government should give you this thing as a national cake, from which source?
Exactly.
Based on which petrol that we're selling? We must face the realities that we have on ground for us to begin to talk this talk. I believe that government is presently looking at tax reforms. They're looking to expand tax nets. They're giving some form of palliative to producers. They're giving to our manufacturers. They're giving, whatever they are doing is going to help us adjust in 6 months. Whatever the inabilities, inadequacies of the CNG buses should be done and done with. They say they're bringing the conversion kits. In 6 months, we should be seeing the reality of the buses everywhere. I traveled to Ghana 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And they were already using CNG buses and converting the buses.
All right, let me bring in our guest. He is the former Executive Vice Chairman, Presidential Tax Team on Restoration of Sanity to the Lagos Port Access Host, Dr. Kayode Opeifa. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you with us. You've been hearing and listening to our conversation concerning the president's speech. Let me start with your own general review of his speech, and then we'll discuss the other angles. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, and let me say congratulations to Nigerians.
Yeah.
At least in recent time, we are privileged to have a presidential independent speech that speaks to everybody. This speech is just about 30 paragraphs, was well crafted and very honest. The president was honest in that speech. It laid bare on Nigerians the state of the nation. What will have required about 30 pages of write-up, he made it in 30 paragraphs. To begin, he acknowledged the founding fathers of this country, at least for us all to appreciate, and for those who don't understand history, to understand the fact that we started somewhere. He went through what we all describe as a diversity, and he relates how this actually should be addressed. Then he went further to acknowledge that there are issues, especially arising from some of the decisions the presidency has taken. That is being honest and sincere. And he explained why it has to be that way and pleaded with Nigerians to bear with him. He used some analogies that are scriptural, but he avoided being labeled as talking from any part of the religious sector. When he alluded to the issue of building the foundation on the mud, rather, he would rather do what is the future. He went further. He spoke to the National Assembly. He spoke about the legislature. He also spoke to the judiciary. He commended them for what they have been doing to this government. He also addressed the issue of the civil societies and the media combined. So what you have in this speech is a speech that talks to the poorest of the poor, to the middle class, to the rich Nigerians, to the industrialists, and to everybody. He highlighted some of the decisions he has taken, which Nigerians may think are somehow painful. He acknowledged it and said he's not surprised that they are painful. But what he's sure of is that it's a matter of time, that this is the path we ought to have taken, this is the path we should take, and he's ready to take that path because he's sure of the outcome. He highlighted some of the way forward on this reform. And about 5 or 6 of them, he talks about the fiscal and monetary policy to fight inflation. This is critical. Nigerians are complaining of economic hardship, the rising cost of the dollar to the naira, and the impact of fuel subsidy removal. You remember the phrase subsidy is gone. He acknowledged he made those statements out of genuine hope for Nigeria. And he highlighted what he would do, fiscal monetary policy reform. He talked about savings for the future, today and for the future. He talked about directive to state governments to roll out palliative. He talked about the social net being increased almost by 100% from 8 million to 15 million.
Right.
And he also alluded to the fact that the disbursement will start sometimes in
Dr. Opeifa, let me get you a few questions.
Dr. Opeifa.
The major issue affecting us, that is the energy sector, where the cost of transportation arising from the subsidy removal is an issue. He talked about the CNG buses.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that these buses should have been on the road, but for procurement process. So he's a man of law. He acknowledges the difficulty and what the government is going through. So this is what leaders ought to expose to their followers. I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best, but I have challenges. These are my challenges, but I don't see them as a problem. I see them as opportunity to move. He has done that. And he went down the talk about these
all right, let me get a few questions in for you.
Which, what do you call it, minimum wage matter. But that everybody will get 25,000, which has now been clarified to be 35,000. And if to some people, 100%, to some it is 50% of their current wage, to some it is 20%. My own calculation, apart from the permanent secretaries and those on level, 17. This is a minimum of 20% dash for the next 6 months. And at least this will take us before the new minimum wage.
All right.
And from what we also see from this speech actually addressed a lot of issues being raised by labor. So this
well, I'd like to say there's some critics.
Everything acknowledges its own issues, and it shows clear sincerity of purpose.
Okay.
Dr. Opeifa, so I heard you. I would like you to, to maybe dispel the distrust some Nigerians have in the palliatives going around. So, the president had promised to reach out to certain businesses, about 75 of them, with ₦1 billion grant to assist those businesses. He's also talked about reaching 15 million households. Nigerians, because of distrust, have criticized to say that this is just big boy sharing money largesse for the big boys, or political support. What do you say to this?
Yeah, thank you very much. What I did not mention earlier was to say that you also talked about the social redistribution of wealth. You see, whether we like it or not, we are not the same. Some who got those palliatives will be happy. Those who don't get it will not be happy. The distrust in the social register, I'm going to put it more on the media, because we need to manage situation. There is no way you do a social register in a country that is still grappling with social identity and you think it's going to be perfect. People will continue to complain as long as we don't implement the policies the way it is meant to be implemented. I believe most of the complaints on the palliatives are coming from the way it is being implemented. I'm not trying to speak for the president or apportion blame. I think you should put those blames on the state governments and the local governments who have the responsibility to do that part. The responsibility of the president and the presidency at the center is to put down the policy. We have 5 billion naira. We are releasing 2 billion naira from the infrastructure fund. In the meantime, you have to go to your states, you have to go to the local governments, get the people, find a modality to do. So we should address the state governments and the local governments on this. And that is where we have different tiers of government and different responsibility. We have heard this, and it's terrible. The way the palliative is being managed, the food aspect of the palliative is not that perfect in many states. Some states have done it well. People have mentioned Borno State. We have a perfect, not perfect, a near perfect, something reasonable way of doing it. So we need to appeal to the state governments and to the local governments chairman. They need to do the right thing. They must do the palliative in such a way that people are treated. You don't need to give palliative to me. I can survive. But people like us should be able to also support where we can support. The palliative should go to people who need it, people who should be given, and should be given to them in a dignified manner. And it should not also be done in a way that it will also affect the cost of foods in the market. I think on that area, Nigerians are, and the president addressed it. He mentioned that he's aware of the issues, and he also informed that the states are directed or have been mandated or have taken up the responsibility to handle this. I think that should be directed at the state governments. And I'm joining other Nigerians, and I also want to appeal to the media on this social register thing. Look, I was involved in some of the trader money computation. I was probably asked to help with the transport sector, and I told the presidency, it doesn't make sense if you are going to give people in the transport sector 10,000 naira. But 6 months after, we were approached again, and we were able to get 35,000 new transport operators in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. We couldn't get one of Lagos because of so many controversies, and that of Kano.
All right, I need to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about what the critics are saying concerning the president's speech. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
thanks for staying with us. We still have Dr. Opeifa here with us. Dr. Opeifa, many of the president's critics have said that his speech was bereft of substance or ideas or anything, just more promises. You know, that he didn't really give anything tangible, besides obviously of the 35,000 naira for labor. But what are your thoughts on those who said that it was just a bunch of promises? We don't even know how far they're going to go in actually delivering on these promises he's made.
I didn't get you right.
Some of his critics have said the speech was bereft of substance and were mostly promises. And there were no indications of when these promises would actually materialize. So what are your views on that? Okay,
that's not surprising. Critics will always find something to say. The important thing is, does the speech speaks to Nigerians and majority of Nigerians? Yes. A 30-paragraph speech cannot be expected to delve into the nitty-gritty of how it will be done. Immediately after the speech, you are aware the Labour met with some people in the presidency, and some clarifications were also made yesterday. And that is what will happen. After the speech, the various policy implementers will spring into actions. And we have just been informed that the wage augmentation is going to everybody. Now it is 35,000 naira. That is left for the the bureaucrats to perfect. It's not the job of the president in the speech to start explaining. So I think they are just doing the job they are expected to do. Critics are expected to criticize. All right. And that is also work. And it's also another way for the presidency too, to know that people are listening and they're interested in more details. So I am not surprised. I think that is expected. But for me, I think that speech is directed to all Nigerians, and including those who live in the presidency or not. Right.
Okay. Would it be also good to say that the speech should have added a bit of timelines to the implementation? Because Nigerians are worried that we have some of these good things that the president wants to do to solve the issues we have in the country, but there are no timelines. How long do we tighten this belt? When are we going to get this hope? When is it going to materialize? Should that have been added in some of the things that the government is planning to do for Nigerians?
I think that's another beauty of the speech, that Nigerians are asking for timeline. That means they love the speech, they accepted the speech, and they expected results. And they're asking the presidency now, what are the timeline? That is going to come by the bureaucrats who are expected to carry out. The president mentioned in his speech that there are some reforms that are going on. He also explained in his speech that he has set up a lot of committees. He mentioned the tax reform committee without mentioning the PCNG initiative committee. He mentioned the PCNG issue. He mentioned the social safety net that is under the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. So those are the people that will come forward and provide timeline if necessary and if available. Then what is important is that the speech is eliciting comments, and that is what a speech is expected to do.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Opeifa. Let me let you go at this point. Appreciate your inputs this morning. I know that we wanted to say a few more things on the speech because I know Nigerians are still discussing it. Before the break, at some point, we're talking about the middle class. You always accuse you of accusing middle class. Middle class. But I think one of the things I'd like to highlight before I leave is the fact that to further explain to you why I always blame the middle class. When the president recently allegedly got the Dubai ban lifted, like they allegedly removed the restriction of Dubai, we saw on social media, everybody was excited on social media, people were talking, everybody was speaking English, oh my goodness, and I thought critically to myself, this lift that they do, or they plan to do, how does it affect the woman I said in Bali? How does it affect the bus driver? How does it affect those guys on the streets? Those of us, middle class, who are on the social media, were so excited. I'm talking, I think the whole nation was excited. But the whole nation wasn't excited because the majority are not on social media. The majority are on the streets hawking. The majority are on the streets. So these are the ones that, and my point is that this middle class, us, we carry our money to Dubai, but we need dollars. But I will have to change my naira to dollar to travel to Dubai. What are you doing? I am still mopping up the dollar, the small dollar that we have. And that has an effect. Let me finish. That has an effect on the driver, on the hawkers, on the real Nigerians. It has a serious effect. So we are being selfish. When we are here excited about, the ban, how does it affect the people on the street, the real Nigerians? So the point is, I'll let you respond. Yeah. The point is that when we are all saying this excitement, how does it affect, do we truly care about those guys on the streets? We don't. We only care about our ability to be able to go
to fantastic.
Dubai.
We will care to the best of our caring, but we will not over-care more than the government, because you forget that all fingers are not equal. And people would work based on the level that they find themselves. So you are telling somebody who is excited that they've lifted Dubai ban should not be excited because somebody else is selling bole on the streets. It's the job of the government to cater for the person that's selling bole. Because, no, hold on. Even in my excitement, I have my constituency that I'm catering for. I cannot cater for the whole Nigeria. That's not my job. No. Understand what I'm trying to say. I cannot cater for everybody because it's not my job. The people who have been elected to do that job should do that job. I am doing my own bit by catering for my immediate environment and doing all the giftings that I do and all of that. That's my own bit. Okay. But don't give me government's responsibility and blame me for what is going wrong in the country. You cater for your people, I cater for my own. Okay. If you need us to meet, they've said now that sometimes, do you know how many times you go to the bank and you don't get the USD? You don't get it, and nobody dies. Nobody kills anybody. Okay, we move on to that. But governments must make sure that the poor and vulnerable are well taken care of.
Okay, the consequence it's not my job. This taste is the lack or the scarce resources. Dollar is not plenty. It's not available. But the taste of the middle class is to go to Dubai. Dubai, no, they give anybody still. They only give work permits and they give you visas to come and use their facilities or their tourist facilities. You pay. And you've just mopped out the dollar that will be scarce for that, making the naira weak. Yeah. You're not thinking of that consequence. If you give up that taste and travel within the country to other tourist attractions within the country, will it not trickle down? It will create employment for Nigerians, and are we looking at it that way? Wow. We can't be selfish and be Nigerian.
Wow. So for me, that's not hold on now. We the middle class, hold on. How many percent is this middle class you're talking about? When the middle class decides to cater for the rest of Nigerians by not traveling, the leaders who have the sole responsibility will travel and allow the middle class to be doing their job.
All of for now, join.
Politicians.
No. All of for now. Please. The Nigerian who insist on importing their food, saying that their taste is no longer Nigerian, it has to be foreign. That Nigerian who is using his scarce resources to go and feed one.
We have to wrap up. But you see, the reason why I had to highlight that, because I like to continually remind Nigerians.
I agree with that point.
With Nigerians that we have a role. Because let's not wait for Santa Claus to come and give us doing his speeches. This is what I'm dashing you. He's not dashing us anything. We also have a responsibility to this. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that we are all part of this problem. We must acknowledge it. That's my issue. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in the minister to tell us exactly what her plans are concerning humanitarian. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're supposed to have the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, was supposed to be our guest this morning, but she just told us that she had to leave. So unfortunately, maybe another time we'll bring her on. But we really wanted to discuss with her the steps to take, especially with this issue of palliatives, how to get to the poor. It was important for us to speak to her, but hopefully we'll have her some other time. So we'll just go back to what we were talking about earlier, because we started the debate concerning the role of the citizens, the role of the government, and the role of those of us who are in the middle class. And people always criticize me of I'm always blaming the middle class. Is it by force? But it's important for us to also see where we are in this puzzle, because the president will say, Nigeria is a house. We're all in different rooms, right? So if we're all in different rooms, there's a room the middle class is where they are serving caviar, they are serving sausages, they are serving bacon, they're serving all. That's the room you are in. We need the middle class who are eating all this Oyinbo food to come back to the rooms where other people to understand, listen, we don't need this right now. We need to find a way to review our tastes and our demands and our likes so that all of us in the whole house can be fed. Because if I keep eating this kind of nice chicken and all these things, other people in the other rooms will not have access. So it's all seeing the bigger picture. And I'd like to come to you because I know that you have a different perspective on this matter.
So let me tell you the truth. There is no middle class in Nigeria. You're either poor or rich. And I'm saying it with my full chest. If with all the work you're doing, all the hustle you're doing, you get up to 1 million naira a month, you are rich. You're a millionaire. In Nigeria, in naira. So all this one that you are deceiving yourself, Mariah, with middle class, you are not a middle class, you are rich. So we have the poor.
1 million a month.
Hold on.
Just lay premise, go conclude.
Hold on.
Nigerians are watching you.
You heard what I said.
Tell me we are here together.
Calm down. You heard what I said. I said with all the hustles, I'm not saying one job. Everything you're doing, you are a speaker, you're a consultant, you gather everything together, and by the time you add it at the end of the month, it's up to 1 million. Please, you are not a middle class. Stop deceiving poor people. You're either poor or you are rich in the country. And the middle class you are shouting, I've already said there's nothing like middle class in Nigeria. There are people who are rich, who have worked hard for their money, who because of their exposure have exposed taste. Their taste buds, how they call them, is now foreign and imported. You cannot stop them. What you can do as a responsible government is to ensure that they pay double for that thing that they want. So if they can afford it, they can get it. Let them pay double. They pay, the people who are importing all of those things will pay heavy tax on it. That tax will be transferred to the consumer. So you want to eat sausage and you have beef here. You consider your sausage is like 5,000 naira a packet and your beef is 1,000 a packet. You go for your beef. If you can afford your sausage, you should not be crucified for being able to afford your sausage. But government is not doing that. And so it seems like the people who have that foreign taste are now committing crime by deciding to eat that. By the time you tax it and it's very expensive, only those who have the money or those who want to spend the money will do that. And that's okay. We're not running a socialist community. This is a capitalist system. And people will never be equal. And what government does is to ensure that they tax the people who are perceived to have that much so that they can cater for the vulnerable and the poor persons. It's not the job of those people. They do their CSR and all of that in their organization and all of that. You know how many people that you send money to down the line in your family if you come from a very poor home. You do that at your capacity. But government will not leave this job for you to be thinking for them what they're supposed to do. That is where I have a problem.
Okay, I will agree with you to some extent. I pray God help me say this calmly. You see, this Nigerian test, we see where it has brought us, but we live in a denial. Constantly, we would rather blame someone else. Until we agree to carry our responsibility, we might stay longer where we are. Nigerians will tick on a ticket. How many times a year they go to another man's country to call it enjoyment? Nigerians will tick on a non-existing table how educating themselves from their own roots is bad until they go to another man's country to be educated. Please, who will tell you that something good is in your backyard? That man is educating their children to come and turn your own to resources and educating you to see your own as waste. We don't see it like that, but we'll fight for that foreign exchange to go and get it. At what cost? To remain where we are? Is it not to vacate, be vacation? Use the available resources here. Worst case, vacate in your house. Wait, I'm coming somewhere. Save the dollar for the important exchange. I'd rather see Nigerian businessmen go abroad the way these Asians come here and use that, and we're paying forex for that, to earn that money and bring it back up the way they take our own back. Not, I just went to Dubai and you do a picture.
I just bought Gucci bag.
That's not luxury. That's a mentality you need to change. I don't want to call it what it is, what Fela called it, but it's a mentality you need to do away with. Now, let's look at this jackpot mentality they've sold us, because everybody is in the embassy. Nigerians are converting hard-earned naira to their foreign currencies, empowering their currencies to go there and take jobs that they claim exist. Today, we are now seeing Nigerians doing video. You call out, what's in the happen, go. Why are we not trying to make this place good? Why does it look so impossible to do?
Yay.
When Singapore released their video, I was watching one Singaporean something on my husband's phone yesterday, and I was like, if you tell this to a Nigerian, they will just slap you. They will tell you you are a dream killer, everything. Because we are in our religious places, pray for visa to come. Yeah. I don't get it. This country was great, not on petrol. By the time Awolowo built Ife, built the cocoa house, we were on agriculture. Yeah. In my village, where my ancestors were farmers, they are selling land. They are not farming again.
Yes, my mother-in-law has land that is just there.
We cannot hate what God gave us and expect it to grow.
I hear you, and I'd like to open our phone lines. Please call us on 081764167, 09024163440. Please call in to join the conversation. I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, so somebody close to me was saying, Morel, every money you have, please go and put it to dollar. Dollar is going to, then dollar hadn't gotten to 1,000. It was 900 and something. Said, Morel, go and change your money now. And I said, no. I insisted. The person said, Morel, you have to, because I know. And I said, even if my naira becomes paper, she is my own naira. I will leave it as that because I made that choice personally. And I'm saying that because before you and even God my witness. Because I know that I must be intentional about my participation in Nigeria's development. So that is how I would like Nigerians, more Nigerians to think. But you see, it's not about me securing me, myself, and I. So how do I ensure that I am part of this? I'm not saying government doesn't have their own responsibility, because I agree with BC. Government cannot in any way be removed or removed from this their responsibility. They must also own up to where they are, because they also travel. They do medical tourism, absolutely. They must also be stopped. I agree there should be policies stopping them. But we as the people that can afford it should also rethink what our tastes and desires are in view of...
Okay, let me just...
So the thing is, I agree with you on the part that we all have to be responsible. Yeah. And that's why some of us are staying back in the country to make it work. Some of us are building businesses here. Somebody was having a conversation with me which day, and I was, talking about the guy that came to advertise the pineapple farm. I was considering it. Do I have change to do that with everything I'm doing right now? And the person was like, why are you still planning to invest more here? Why? Why don't you move your investments? And I'm like, but this is my country. I have to grow in my country. I had also opportunity to, convert my money to the money is not even enough to even convert to the USD. It will finish. I left it. So what I did...
I'm sorry, because I'm told the minister is here. So please, can you hold that thought?
I hope I don't forget
it. Yeah, right. Don't forget. But I need that thought. But let's go in. Let's take in our minister. Good morning, madam. Are you there? Dr. Betta Edu. Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu. Welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, although you're cracking up.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, so one of the first questions Nigerians want to know, especially concerning your ministry, is how you intend to assist the president in getting palliatives, humanitarian help to Nigerians who actually need it, those who are actually poor. Could you give us an idea what your ministry will be doing towards this objective?
Thank you very much for having me this morning. First, President Bola Tinubu has brought on board offering to Nigerians a renewed hope, a hope to lift them out of poverty, a hope to provide security, food security, a hope to actually end hunger, a hope to improve the economy, and amongst his 8-point agenda, and that's what he stands for, that's what he represents. The president is very passionate about Nigerians. He's a Nigerian, and he's a committed one at that fought for democracy, and he's very interested in ensuring that Nigerians all over are truly, truly impacted by his administration. He's made some very bold decisions, some decisions that other administrations were unable to make for several reasons. But he's made those bold decisions to save the economy, to save Nigeria.
Hello, I think we lost her. Look, let me go on a quick break. Hopefully we can have her back shortly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Please go ahead.
For us in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Our job is to see that we provide social safety nets for Nigerians that can protect them from falling under the poverty line while ensuring that those who are under the poverty line are actually taken out of that category. A lot of programs, lots of national activities, lots of implementation is needed to achieve this, working together with those at the state and those at the local government level. And we are going to be doing everything within our powers to ensure that some of these programs, of course, includes the conditional cash transfer, which will be based on the National Social Register, the vocational skills youth program, the Empower, the JIP loans, which is providing loans, non-interest loans to Nigerians that are petty traders, of course, market women, and even poor farmers as they go into the next farming season. We equally would be carrying out several programs around the homegrown school feeding, programs around the Renewed Hope Shelter for poor, internally displaced, and refugees. We also have several programs that are just targeted at job creation, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, as well as creating employment and giving digital skills to Nigerians that are poor and need to be elevated from this bracket.
Right.
The point is, one, we want to do all our programs in a sincere and transparent manner. We want to see the impact at the grassroots. We want to deal with the people who truly need the support at the grassroots.
Okay.
Honorable Minister, one of the criticism, of course, is that, there are no data for these people. I like the numbers, the areas that you have reached out, that you have touched, the most downtrodden. But what data are you relying on to ensure that people actually get this money, not, some fictitious group of people?
So we have the National Social Register, which has about 15.7 million households, which amount to about 62 million individuals in the National Social Register. We also have the Rapid Response Register. We have other data from the National Bureau of Statistics and several other ministry-housed data that directly points at the multidimensional poverty and those who are affected by it. This data was gotten by geographical targeting and community targeting. What we are presently doing now is to clearly earmark those places, go back to the field and verify those data, and then we can have that integrity and confidence to use this data in administering. We've been on the field since since Saturday when we flagged off, and we're going all across the country to verify the data that we have already. Now, what we found out, I'll give you an example. When I went to about 5 communities in Lagos State. These are suburbs and some areas in Lagos that are really kind of like remote. We went there on Saturday, and what we realized is, I'll give you an example of Makoko. We had areas in Makoko that were covered and other areas in Makoko that were not covered under this register. And so we spoke with the state governor, and we equally spoke with his team on ground to say we need to cover these areas in Makoko and capture these people. And then other places where we find such discrepancies or people who were not included but are poor and are living under $1.95 per day, we would capture them using the Rapid Response Register, and then we would be able to administer both the conditional cash transfer to them as well as other social programs within the social safety net to prevent them from falling into poverty or lift those who are in poverty out of poverty.
Okay, so I wanted to find out how you intend to capture, like what metrics is used. Is it like each household or the number of individuals in each household? Because I know that there are some households that will have a number of adults living with them. So do you just attend to the household, or you attend to the individuals in each household?
So there are different interventions. For instance, the conditional cash transfer goes to households. So it's supposed to, in one way or the other, affect the lives of persons within that household, not just one person, but as many persons as possible. So the households will prioritize their need. Do we need to pay for the children's school fee? Do we need to subsidize transportation? Do we need to subsidize, improve on our livelihood so that we can get more money for the household? They will prioritize that. Now, the JIP program, right, which is the empowerment program.
Okay, we kind of froze again. So we'll probably try to link up with her. But I think, so far she was in Makoko yesterday, and we'd like to also know how she plans to reach out to the other communities, the poor communities outside Lagos. I mean,
Yes,
Makoko is very popular. Everybody knows Makoko.
yes.
Everybody, in fact, everybody goes
Tries
there
to go there for outreach,
But
yeah.
there are more people out there who are probably even poorer than those living in Makoko, who are in various communities across the country. So it would be nice to also hear from the minister how she plans to reach them and who else she's working with in partnerships, because I'm sure she can't do it by herself.
Yeah.
She needs partners across the
Another
nation.
thing important to me is not to see the kind of cash.
Okay, I'm told she's
distribution
back.
we saw the last
Hello, madam. Are you still there? We lost you for a minute. Are you back? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you guys.
Sorry, it was there was a break in transmission. Can you hear me now?
No, you're still not
Yeah, it's
clear.
not very. Okay, so we'll probably still try to bring you on properly because we are running out of time right now. But let me see if you are able to just share with us in a nutshell how you plan to reach other communities across the nation, aside from Makoko.
So we have a team of persons who are on ground meeting with the state governors and the state team, which are indeed the steering committee, and then all the way to the grassroots. We're engaging with traditional leaders, community leaders, to see that we truly get the right people. Like I said, it is community targeting and geographical targeting. So we're targeting the community members, working with the locals to identify those who really, really should be on that list. We're deploying these teams across the country, and we intend to get these verification reports in the next 2 weeks. They're already out in the field, and we need to get these reports within the next 2 weeks. We've deployed different teams to the different local governments, so the 774 local governments. From that point, they'll be working with the communities. Now, we're doing this in collaboration with, of course, the NOA, which we all know that they have COMOS, that's community officers at the level of the communities. We're also doing this in collaboration with the Nigerian Population Council, that equally have representatives at the local communities. So they would be the best persons to work with us to identify the persons that need to be on that register, and then verify those who are already on the register, whether we should be keeping them there or we should take them off the register. For us, it's about integrity. There's sincerity of purpose from the part of the president, and he wants this to truly get to those who need the succor at this time. And so we plead with Nigerians. We may not be politically correct, in quotes, so we might not be taking into consideration political interests, we might not be taking into consideration personal and social interests, but we want to truly do the right job. Subsequently, we will still expand to cover the persons who have been in the reported in the MBS as 133 million, of course, multidimensionally poor persons in Nigeria. For this first set, we're dealing with 15 million households. Subsequently, we'll expand this to cover more persons.
All right, we have to wrap up with you, but I think there's a question on sustainability. It's one thing to give one of those one-off gifts, but Nigerians would like to know, are there plans on how, you know how you travel abroad, there's soup kitchen available, people can go there to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, there are places you can go to pick up your things you need. So is there a long-term plan to sustain some of these handouts to very poor families?
So, like I said, it's a 360 intervention, right? These are just like immediate response to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal, right? We're looking at more sustainable plans. This includes, of course, the job creation, vocational skills, traders support to build their capital to be able to do better businesses, amongst other interventions that are put on the table. So the cash to the households is just an immediate plan to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal.
Okay.
One last question, Ma. Just the cash to the households. How are you going to do this? I would rather that, it's through a bank transfer so there's a trace. But, how exactly do you plan to do it?
It's an electronic transfer from one account to the beneficiary, right? From the government account to the beneficiary directly. There's no middleman, there's no
cash.
There's nothing. It's straight to the beneficiary. And this beneficiary must be verifiable with their BVNs, their biometrics, and all of that. And what we're trying to do is to sign on the Disclosure Act so that Nigerians can have access to who these people are and do independent verification of the ministry. That way we can gain the trust of the public in the work President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing.
And that's quite reassuring. Thank you very much, Dr. Betta Edu. And then we'd like to bring you on often to at least give us updates on what your ministry is doing, because we definitely need quite a bit of intervention, especially now that the president is promising 6 months palliative or support to help workers. So it would be great to know how far you've gone in the next 6 months.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so that's all we can take. I mean, PC, are you convinced?
Yeah.
The government is working.
No. Please don't give me a bad name.
No, you. I can let me continue. Are you convinced?
I'm seeing
I
the
got
progress.
my question answered.
Yes.
Because what I would
Seeing the
hate
progress
is what I saw the last administration, where people would just queue up, one will carry shine, the other one will plate, and they'll just be collecting cash. There's really no trace of that. If somebody is collecting it from them right after, you can't say. But with a bank transfer,
it can be traced.
Even we can verify if we choose
yes,
to.
and it's a possibility of an audit. If I come out and say I gave 12 million to 12 million people, 12 million can be traced to 12 million people. Those 12 million people come outside, come and tell us, what did you receive? Did you receive? What did you do with it? And I hope that, eventually you're going to extend this to the real vulnerable people. Or there should be a platform where people can enlist, vulnerable people. Some people don't know how to get on the platform. This data has not caught some people, so I'm hoping that...
So everybody should do what they are meant to do. Let's not be pushing responsibility to people who are not even there to carry out the responsibility. As a government, do what you need to do to protect your people. As a rich citizen, do what you need to do to protect your people and protect yourself. As a middle class or a poor person, do what you need to do to protect yourself. However, we're talking initially, and I know there's no time. Let me just quickly add this. Some persons have always traveled within. Nima kept highlighting, if you want to do vacation, you must do within. But the places they wanted to go, when insecurity started, they could not go there anymore. So the government needs to fix the insecurity so that people like us can go to Jos and go to Kaduna and go to Zamfara for holiday, because they are very beautiful places there.
Let me end with this comment from Engineer Ajibola Tijani. Let me just quote a part of it. He says, we need as a nation to deal with our self-inflicted irresponsible attitude and behavior as individuals first. And this will go a long way to make a positive change. We must speak the truth to ourselves first, while speaking truth to power. Every little effort helps a nation, and we must be that change. Thank you very much, Engineer Ajibola, for always giving us some really good tips. That is all we can take on the show this morning. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.